You go, CRABZILLA. Evaporate humanity. Oh, yes. Hippie do, hippie hey, the USA is not today. Ah, lovely. It doesn't matter how many men you send, you are going to die. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I'm the Spiffing Brit, and today I am more than just an average YouTuber. I have become God. Oh my. That's right, I'm playing a God game, which is of course a terrible type of game to be in the hands of any living British person. Why? Because we get to live all of our wildest fantasies out, and most of them involve the persecution of others. It's absolutely going to be perfectly balanced. So welcome to this brand new world. It has absolutely nothing going on, and that allows us to create a beautiful, perfect utopian society and then punish them into oblivion, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start by actually getting some land down, because there's actually not any land here in our lovely, glorious world. I mean, our world is huge, look at the size of this bad boy, but there's just nothing going on in it. So let's start by adding some land. We're going to need some kind of landmass that truly represents the type of world that we're making. A beautiful, glorious utopia where everyone is happy, friendly, wonderful, and enjoying their existence. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful. I've created it. It's hell. Everyone's favorite landscape. My goodness. Hell. It's glorious. Absolutely wonderful, and should definitely not be mistaken for, of course, Skegness, even though the two do look ever so slightly similar. It's fantastic. It's populated by evil, angry golems. Now, I would absolutely love to build a society on the plains of hell itself. However, it turns out it's very difficult for a human being to survive in hell. For example, I'll pop a single human being down now. Here's our human, their name is Dave, and they're now about to see what it's like to live in hell. Now sadly, hell is filled with these coffee drinkers here, and these coffee drinkers, they pack a bit of a punch and might actually murder poor little Dave. But even if the coffee drinkers don't, it's okay, because I need to make a new world, and that means Dave's going to be killed either way by an incoming nuclear bomb. Anyway, that's Dave dealt with. Let's make a new world. Now what I've done is created 4 basically generic land masses, and I'm going to be making all of them absolutely lovely and wonderful, full of life, and the perfect locations for most societies to thrive. Now, we've pretty much set up these perfect land masses. We've given all of them sources of gold, iron, and stone so that they can get thriving. They've got some berry bushes to keep the local populations fed. And sure, yes, there are some animals native to the continent that might get a little bit angry when humanity starts rocking up, but that's okay. We've got perfect land masses for all of our lovely, glorious peoples to begin with. Now we just need some kind of world-ending threat for them all to eventually fight once they become powerful enough. So let us design the continent of chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to show you the shaft of destiny, the source of all evil and malice in the known world. Why is this place going to be dangerous? Well, it's going to be dangerous because we're going to start ramming it with some very, very angry boys that, let's be honest, you don't want to fight. Say hello to zombies. These are undead creatures that will turn other humans into zombies. Now, these zombies are great when it comes to literally punching anything, because look at them. They've got a little bit of damage, they've got a little bit of health, but most importantly, they will infect anything and everything they hit, and they don't die of old age. So I'm just going to basically spawn them all along this glorious shaft. Alright, now we have the continent of zombies pretty much sorted out. You don't exactly want to associate with these bad boys, but that's completely fine. We're going to give them a lovely, horrible, corrupted biome that no one in their right mind would ever want to venture to. However, as soon as they venture there and discover the zombie apocalypse, there is no coming back. Right, time to get our lovely empires actually running, and with that we're going to need our 4 civilizations: humanity, the elves, orcs, and the dwarves. So we've got our first few humans down, and they're going to start setting up a civilization soon enough. Then we're going to need the elves. Straight away, these guys have set up a town and a civilization, and so have the humans. They've set up Lunan. Lovely, fantastic. Then we're going to need to get the orcs down. There we go, there's 28 of them, and now also the dwarves. So fantastic, we've got all of our lovely civilizations down. Some of them, yes, have split up into rival locations, like for example the humans have set up a completely separate village to the rest of their other villages, but that's just because they're picky. So far there are 123 living beings on this planet, which is wonderful. Now they're going to start out the process of basically leveling up their entire civilization. Oh dear, and I accidentally placed a dwarf down, and so naturally that dwarf got murdered. Well, that's my bad. So we've got our first few kingdoms actually up and running with various civilizations nations underneath them. The kingdoms are as follows. The glorious human nation of Spifftopia, which controls this village and actually also this northern village here. The French, also known as the Elves. The Stabbers, otherwise known as the Orky Boys. And finally, the Dwarf Boys, who have pretty much perfectly united and are starting to mine out the mountain. These guys are doing great. This guy's a pacifist, but he is a miner, so he is very happy to be mining. Now, their societies are going to take a little while to get developing, but eventually they'll discover how to cross the ocean and get to the continent of the ongoing zombie apocalypse. Now, the human main capital of London is actually doing rather good. It's got 5 whole buildings, and look at that, it's got berries. It hasn't got any gold, though, which I suppose is a problem, but that's okay. These boys, they're gonna get strong eventually. They just need more time and power, and so we're going to give them that time. In fact, we can even give them that power by giving them sheep. But not too many sheep, else they will turn into the Welsh. And to the French, we shall give them a rat king. He is just a very large rat, and I hope they love him and cherish him. Alright, now I'm just going to basically let a large amount of time pass and watch as our civilizations grow. And also, well, I suppose some of them might collapse. Hopefully none of them do. They have a perfect landscape to get growing. They should be fine. They have got some technology to research, though, mind you. What are the French researching? They currently know how to make tier 1 houses, and that's about it. Yes, and that's mostly the same across the board. Hopefully we get some technologies with time. Oh, a brand new village has been founded by the French. This human kingdom has found a new king. It's all going quite well. In fact, you know what? The Orcs have even founded a new kingdom. The humans are doing great as well. They've got a little bit of research going. They know how to do some culture conversion, and then they're going to start researching how to chop trees, which is going to be a fantastic research indeed. Hopefully they don't just cut down the entire world. Otherwise, they might run into a few problems. Meanwhile, the zombies down here are having a grand old time doing pretty much nothing. They're just having a lovely time. But the humans are now cutting down trees, and with that increase in technology, they'll start building themselves better homes. Look at this, they're even getting some farming going. Look at that. Evolution, ladies and gentlemen. The glorious population of Spifftopia is evolving. Who is the king of this kingdom? Oh my goodness, he's wise and greedy. He's just like me. From henceforth you shall be known as default British man. Oh, you're glorious, you're perfect. Right, go forth, default British man. Make me a glorious empire. Oh, he's going to be fantastic. We can now actually see the location of our kings and the bannermen of the kingdom. So, for example, we have the leader of the Dwarf Boys over here. Actually, not as I don't want to even have to rename them, I'm going to make it so that you no longer die of old age. There we go, we're bam. The kings will now live forever. King of the Dwarfs is a wise pacifist miner, so I shall name him Big Steve. There we go. The leader of the Orcs is, of course, a bloodlust savage equipped with a wooden stick. My goodness, this is one powerful boy. He wants to be called Tonero, which kind of sounds like he wants to be called Sly Tony. There we go. And finally, the leader of the French. He's a weightless, ambitious, wise individual, also with a wooden stick. He shall be known as King Philippe the 172nd, because my goodness, if there's one thing I know about the French is that they love a good King Philippe. Okay, a short amount of time has passed, ladies and gentlemen, and the British Empire has just declared war on 2 brand new enemies. That's right, it's gone to war with the 2 kingdoms to the left of it. That's right, it's Starbucks and the USA itself. The USA is, of course, being led by Jeff Bezos, its one true king, and amazingly, the British have marched a single soldier in. This is our one valiant hero. He's going to be known as Giga Chad. He's not that strong, mind you, but he was born in Scotland, and he's single-handedly fighting Jeff Bezos using his glorious weapon of the stick. Why does he have a stick? Well, that's because the British Empire has been evolving, ladies and gentlemen. They've been researching. Look at this. They've researched how to produce weapons, sharpen axes, and convert cultures. It's glorious, and now they're going to use this prized wisdom to fight the Americans. And my goodness, can the British people of Scotland fight? Oh no, they've got armor as well. Look at that 1% armor. The American peasants, they have nothing. All they have is a land that will soon be subjugated by the glorious British forces. And oh dear, yep, it looks like this is it for the Americans. Let's view the kingdom. Oh, the kingdom of the USA does not even have an active king. This is terrible. I think this could be the end for them, and a glorious annexation of their terrain for the British Empire. Maybe even their entire culture shall fall to the glorious, glorious British Empire. Anyway, our farmlands are going great, especially as we just annexed ourselves the entirety of the United States. There we go. Kingdom USA was destroyed. Lovely. Ah, yes, the USA is no more. Hippie-doo, hippie-hey, the USA is not today. Ah, lovely. Glorious, glorious success, of course, for us. And that means we will need to rename the entirety of the USA to instead Canada, the superior of nation states. Oh my goodness, Canada is full of berries and pie. Oh, wonderful. And bones. Yeah, sure. Wonder who left all those bones lying around on the floor. Oh, God. Oh, the poor Americans. Anyway, Starbucks is going to fall in a little bit. They're still alive, still at war with the British Empire. They don't have a standing army, and they don't even have a leader. However, they will milk you for profits, but I don't think that's going to help them. Oh, and the British Empire has declared war on the French. Neither side knows how to use boats yet, so I'm interested to see how combat between the two nations is going to work. One thing is for certain though, we've researched how to make a sword which is longer than a wooden stick. We're even researching how to make better houses. This is a glorious step for the British Empire. And yep, that is the end of the minor Starbucks. It has been destroyed and annexed by the glorious tea peoples, who will now be using this increase in population to get the ball rolling even further. I mean, look at them. These bad boys have almost 2 times the population. And yes, they're at war with the elves, but if anything, that will just slow down the elf economy. Speaking of which, how are the elves doing? What technology are they on? They also have swords, and they're also researching houses. Oh no. Are the Brits researching faster? They're at 3.8 knowledge gain. The elves are at 3.4. Yes, it's a minor technological advantage. Fantastic. Oh my goodness, look at this. Default British man, our lovely glorious leader, has been upgraded with a wooden greatsword. He is truly going to be a glorious, powerful being. My goodness. Oh, one of the strongest leaders of all. And look at this giant army we now have. I mean, we can't do anything with it because we don't have a boat. But one day we will. Right, I've decided to give all of the races access to chickens because hopefully they'll do something with the chickens. They might just kill the chickens, but honestly, I mean, sure, fine, they can kill the chickens if that's what they really want to do. Right, my goodness, British society is evolving. The people of Scotland have actually built some kind of large townhouse, and oh my goodness, this is truly civilization. This is glorious, absolutely wonderful. And the army of the Brits is becoming more and more valiant. I mean, look at this. This is a stone monster sword, a legendary weapon, truly forged by the mighty smiths of the Brits. The French have also begun creating large settlements of true power, and the orcs are also not too far behind. The dwarves, however, they've mostly focused on mining, and that's completely understandable. They love mining, but their military is also not to be feared. Look at this, 5% armor. Their boys is tooling up, getting stronger. The war with the French is still ongoing, despite the fact that no side is able to even meet each other. All I know is that the British have a standing army of 63 soldiers, whereas the French only have 33. Right, I will now speed up the game to allow even more time to pass and civilizations to flourish. Oh my goodness, now I have noticed a few things, namely there's a lot of food ingredients in this game, one of which is the greatest food of all, tea, which is actually being enjoyed by the orcs over here. This boy is somehow able to gain access to tea, and that makes him happy, and so he is going to be renamed to Best Boy, and I want to know exactly what Best Boy is up to. Ah yes, my favorite boy, he drinks tea. Who couldn't love him? This is actually the orc military over here. It is surprisingly powerful. It's rather large, and they could be preparing for war, although war at the moment is pretty much useless. The British military is mostly hanging around the Starbucks, making sure they never rebel again, but the empires are starting to form up now and becoming mighty, mighty powerful things indeed. The French have discovered how to not only build swords, but also make spears and mine more efficiently, and just like most of the other empires, including the British, they're starting to research the third tier of house. It won't be long until we have boats up and running, and then when we have boats, well, that is when the war shall begin. My goodness, some of the weapons the British smiths are able to produce is absolutely insane. Check out this stone legendary monster sword being wielded by the leader of the British Empire, who is apparently incredibly upset. This boy is powerful. He is very, very powerful, and now has an additional 100 hit points, meaning he won't die, unlike, you know, sadly poor Jeff Bezos. Oh, and the Kingdom of Stabbers have made peace with the British Empire. I had no idea they were even at war. Let's check out the relations. Yes, the Brits are at war with the elves and no one else. The orcs are at war with no one else. Oh, and the British Empire has made peace with the French. Now that was a surprise. My goodness, the British Empire is growing very strong now. 460 people live here. This is truly a fearsome kingdom. 174 people in the British army. My goodness. And the tea drinking culture is about to research seafood. seafaring. Oh god, they've got docks. They've got docks, and then they're going to start learning how to roam the seas. Oh my goodness, this is either the greatest thing in the universe, allowing them to conquer the world with these little boats, or potentially the worst thing in the universe if they sail down south and meet the giant isle of zombies and also walking skeleton head boys. Oh my goodness, it has begun. The age of sail. We have boats here created by the British Empire. Is this an elf boat as well? Yep, the French have boats too. I do believe this could become the age of war. 615 British people, 2 glorious giant boats. It will be more as well as boat technology improves. Oh no, they've got transport boats, they've got barracks, and they're even researching something else that I have no idea what it is. What is in this boat? Is it a trade boat? No, that does not look like a trade boat. That looks like a boat of war to me. Okay, the French have access to bows, spears, and swords, which is kind of a step above the British. But the British, however, appear to be researching some kind of heavy armor, and they've now discovered how to actually govern lands, meaning they can control more villages, which might make them want to either colonize new lands or destroy the French. Speaking of which, they've just declared war on the French, and I've realized we should give them some new lands to colonize. So I'm going to actually make a new world up here to the north. Everyone can have access to an unclaimed new world and fill it with happy lands. Yes, glorious, happy, wonderful lands full of life and trees and resources. So much gold as well. Lovely. Who wouldn't want to conquer this brave new world? Anyway, let's go straight back to the biggest thing on the menu, which is the British invading the French, because both sides have gigantic transport boats. The French have a standing military force of 100 soldiers, and the British have a standing military force of 242. However, the British are also at war with the Orcs, which do also have a gigantic military. So this could actually go any way. Who knows what will happen? Oh my goodness, a new village has been founded by the French. It has. Oh my goodness, the French have landed a colony. They've landed a colony on the zombie island. What are you doing, French people? What a terrible idea. Well, I wish you luck, French people, but you really shouldn't have settled on this land. This was a very, very bad idea. Because look, now that this peasant has been hit by a zombie, they are now infected. They will eventually die of just effectively the disease and come back to life as a zombie. Oh no, this was a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Also, every single French person that dies here also has a very high chance of coming back as a ghost. That's right, a zombified ghost. Or a skeleton. It's a nightmare. Anyway, the village was destroyed. Wait, hang on a second, is that the British sailing down a boat? No, the British aren't landing a colony as well. No, they are. British people, why? Just because it's unclaimed land doesn't mean you need to colonize it. Oh no. Okay, well these guys are all gonna die as well. What a terrible waste of population. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fighting valiantly, but this was literally the worst idea in the universe. Meanwhile, it looks like the Orcs are landing an invasion force, or they're planning to settle a new colony, because either way, they're floating 186 passengers around the northern tip of the British Empire, which could actually be their entire military force. Yep, that's going to be their entire army floating on a boat. Where is the British military? It's loading up onto this boat. No, British military, no! The Orcs are coming! Oh dear, oh dear. Just because you wanted to come down here to fight the island full of the undead. What are you doing, British people? No! Send the army back. Okay, the Orcs have landed. There's a lot of them, although for some reason they do all appear to be on fire currently. I don't know what happened here, but the Orcs have landed in what was the USA or Canada and have mostly set themselves on fire, which means that they will probably deal with themselves after a short period of time and rampaging, murdering the local British peoples. Yep, it looks like they are all about to effectively burn out and die, and that is the end of the Orc invasion. They've done it again. They've wandered into the British lands and they are now all on fire and are about to die. Oh my god, what a waste. Well, that's how to get rid of your entire military in just a few easy steps, I guess. Anyway, the British army has landed in the elf lands and they haven't set themselves on fire. Meanwhile, the elf military has landed inside the British capital. Luckily, there are some forces here to defend. I imagine it's going to be a glorious bloodbath, however. Meanwhile, it's happened again, but this time the Orcs are doing it. The Orcs have decided to land a colony on the Wang of Chaos. Good luck to them. I wish them all the best. Who knows, maybe they're going to be able to pull it off, but I know that I do not like the look of this world. Oh no, the British capital is burning, but luckily it looks like the king has survived, surrounded by an army of peasants. He has been given an even more powerful legendary wooden sword. This one gives him a plus 30% critical hit, which is glorious, I imagine. He is still currently very sad. It might have something to do with the fact that most of his capital city is now on fire, but it does seem that the French military has indeed been defeated. Just a single stupid speary boy remains, and hopefully he is going to be actually finished off here. Also, why is the English king on on fire. Why are you currently burning to death? Please, can you put yourself out? I'll summon some rain. There we go. Lovely. You're no longer on fire, my friend. Oh no, meanwhile, the King Philippe of the 172nd of the French was slain by Guhaya. This one here, this lovely, amazing British person here has slain a king. There you go. They shall henceforth be known as Nigel the Kingslayer. Lovely, glorious Nigel and his king-slaying abilities. Anyway, I don't think it's looking too good for the French. They've pretty much been defeated. They have just elected a brand new king, but they haven't exactly done very well. They haven't done quite as poorly as the Orcs, who landed an entire invasion force and then set said invading force on fire, but they're still not exactly doing the best. Meanwhile, the Orcs that actually made it down onto the cursed island are actually still alive. They just haven't set up anything. They're kind of just standing around here being sad. Maybe if I give them some more dwarves, they'll be happy. There we go. We'll give them a little new dwarf. Oh, and the British Empire has, of course, landed, and it looks like the remaining forces, led by Nigel the Kingslayer here, who is now a veteran with his wooden legendary sword. My goodness. They're going on a glorious rampage. You go, Nigel. You go. Oh no, Nigel, you're taking damage. Don't die, Nigel. Please don't die. Oh no, he's only got 21 health. No, Nigel! He was killed by Todnor. You shall be known as Todnor Night Slayer. Even more prestigious title. Now, finally, the British are starting to research how to make bows, which is fantastic. Now, finally, a brand new city has been founded. This is, of course, founded by the Orcs in the lovely new world. I get the feeling it's going to do great, except for the fact that there's currently some very angry dwarves that for some reason arrived here but didn't set up a kingdom that are now going to just wander in here. Oh my goodness, and the British army is just chilling out on the French coast. These boys, they've done a great job. You know what we're going to do? We're going to solve the diplomatic issues between these kingdoms by building a bridge. That's right, we're just going to build a land bridge between the two. Oh, and the dwarves have also settled in the new world. Oh, lovely. Okay, this is going to not get spicy in the slightest. And Atasor has ended Todnor Nigel Slayer. Oh my goodness. Finally, the Night Slayer has been defeated by this blessed, wise individual wielding another legendary sword of doom. Why is everyone in the British military wielding some kind of legendary sword? Let's do a quick check on how the diplomacy's looking. So, the Brits are at war with everyone excluding the Orcs. The French are at war with just the Brits. The Orcs are at war with just the Brits. And the Dwarves are at peace with everybody. Lovely. Good for them. Also, for some reason, the city of Scotland has eclipsed the size of London, but that's largely because London got burnt to the ground. Anyway, the Brits are now invading. We have the longbows, and I get the feeling the French aren't going to last too long, especially even if their king, you know, is armed with a giant legendary weapon over here. I get the feeling he's still not going to stand up to the combined might of the glorious British Empire. And just like that, sadly, the French are quite simply no more. There are only 4 French people remaining. That's the end. The French are gone. Their king has been defeated. Well, lovely. I guess that's a whole bunch of new territory for someone to claim. It could literally be anyone, and I get the feeling it's going to be the dwarves. I mean, they're literally sailing a longship over. Oh no, hang on a second. They're not sailing it down here again. They're sailing it down here again. Come on, you know what happened last time you kept landing expeditionary forces into the cursed world. Ah, jeez. Anyway, the Brits are now founding new territories in the old French lands, and the Orcs have landed an invading force, and they've even got one of my starred Orcs, who's the legendary tea-drinking boy, the best boy. But sadly, the best boy was just defeated, I imagine partly because he set himself on fire. I don't know what the Orcs are doing, but every time they land, they just explode into flames and die. I mean, it's not the most effective invasion strategy, but it will work, I guess. Anyway, the kingdom of the French has been destroyed, and the British Empire has finally made peace with the Orcs. Lovely. Hopefully there can now be some economic stability and rebuilding. Well, the Dwarven kingdoms have very efficiently converted all of their land into housing space, and so they need to expand. The same can be said about the Orcs. They've still got a little bit of space remaining, but they are claiming the new world like nobody's business. My goodness. It's looking good for them. Less good for the other occupying forces up there. Right, I've started a brand new kingdom in the new world. This is the Kingdom of Wales, which was famously formed by 2 people and a whole bunch of sheep. And hopefully they're going to be able to, you know, just slow down the immense Stabbers expansion, which is going absolutely insane right now. Even though, sure, the dwarves do exist on this land, I somehow doubt with their wooden sticks they're going to be existing for that long. And yep, it looks like we have just seen war declared. Stabbers has declared war on the Dwarven boys. They want their land, and I get the feeling that they're going to be getting that land. Doesn't matter how many lovely trade ships you have, when the Orcs want you dead, they're going to see it through. Oh wow, and yep, look at that. The poor little Dwarven cities are getting bombarded by naval ships, and oh wow, they're just going to load up all of the military up onto a boat, and where it lands is not going to be a good thing indeed. And here comes in the first army. It is setting fire to most of the Dwarven cities. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This time the army hasn't set itself on fire yet, so So that is a good sign for them. It's possible they might actually win an invasion, and my goodness, it genuinely does look like it. We've got a small dwarven army here, and it's going to be combat, and now everyone is on fire. I don't know how that happened, but I think the dwarves might have done it. Yes, they have. They've just defended their lands. Glorious dwarven defensiveness for the win. Sure, it cost them about half their population, but that's a win. Meanwhile, Wales has grown to a population of 12. Don't ask me how 2 people have become 13 people in such a short period of time using only sheep, but it has happened. I love playing God. What a glorious universe I've created. Oh, and the little dwarven New Frontier colony has been destroyed. What a devastating loss. But you know what I have realized? That is that the New World has become too valuable. Consequently, we must do something to spice it up a bit. And so we shall simulate what did happen in the New World, and that is a gigantic plague of death. So we shall infect just a small quantity of the local population here with the plague. What could possibly go wrong? And of course that's very well timed because the orcs have declared war on Wales. I mean, Wales is such a mighty military state, it makes perfect sense. Oh no, the poor Welsh. They're just peaceful, honest folk. They don't even have weapons. They haven't researched them yet. Oh, and would you look at that? It seems that the plague has actually spread. There's a few people over here shaking with the plague. If the orcs do manage to take the plague back home, that could be quite a large problem. Oh, and the King of the Welsh is being defeated by the orcs. Oh no. Rest in peace, Welsh people. I'm afraid this is the end. Well, things are going rather poorly for the world at the moment. Turns out the plague was a very bad idea. A lot of people are dying very, very quickly. Everyone in the world has the plague, excluding the British, of course, who have lived on this glorious island, and consequently none of them have the plague. But sadly, it means we're going through kings like nobody's business. The dwarves are losing a lot of people. Currently 116 people are infected. 248 for the dwarves, in fact. And for the British, absolutely none. As it turns out, the Schlong to the south has become an absolute nightmare world because of all of the failed expeditions. Endless ghosts have been spawning, and these ghosts are getting stupidly powerful. And the more expeditions that land, the more powerful they become. Anyway, we need to actually stop this plague because for the moment, it's quite simply too powerful. And naturally, the orcs have also declared war on the dwarves, despite the fact that there was an ongoing pandemic. You know, nothing's gonna stop them. The dwarves only have 46 infected people. Jeez, why does it keep going back up? I thought I cleared the entire thing. Oh, great. Right, more divine miracles to heal the world. There we go. No one is getting infected. Everyone is healthy now. Stop being ill. I swear to God, I just cleared up the entire disease in the orc faction and then 333 people are now infected. Why is the pandemic this powerful? Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I have absolutely no way of stopping this giant plague from firing and most of society burning. But hey, the dwarves have decided to land a couple invading forces into the orcs, and that's actually gone relatively well. Now, I have discovered another power that I have, which is pretty cool, and that is of course the heat ray, which allows me just to set fire to things and get them really hot and spicy. This includes pretty much everything on the map, including people, like those orcs. They've just burst into flames. Oh dear, they are running around spreading the fire. That's fine, we'll just ignore that. See, in the British Empire there's only ever been 782 deaths. Meanwhile, in the Orc Empire there has been almost 5,000. Oh my god, this disease was a mistake. It really was. Right, well, there is currently yet again another war between the orcs and the dwarves, and for some reason I think one side can cast lightning down on the other because that's pretty much all they've been doing. Now, sadly, I have not been able to stop the infection. The infection is still going wild in these two nations, and so logically the only way I can solve it is to build a very simple land bridge between the phallus and these two kingdoms, and hopefully this shall just solve pretty much all of our problems by spreading an overwhelming army of ghosts to deal with the endless tide of orcs, or in the very least more orcs will come over here and die, which in turn will create more ghosts. But know that the chaos will just continue to keep spreading over and over and over. Eventually the phallus shall grow. Oh, and the Brits colonized this tiny island over here and have started growing tea. It's lovely, it's wonderful, truly glorious. Anyway, the armies of chaos are currently being held at bay by a near endless stream of orcs, which are now wielding bows with incredible velocity. I mean, just look at them go. It's like we could use a few more necromancers to help out down here. Actually, I don't think we need any more necromancers. My goodness, look at all of this. This is just a little bit ridiculous. Anyway, the orcs have once again declared war on the dwarves, which will see pretty much exactly nothing happen again. As for some reason, the orcs are just simply marching in lots and lots of people to be turned into ghosts. This is a completely terrible idea, because look at all these skeletons using bows. The chaos biome is spreading, ladies and gentlemen. It's climbing up this little sliver of land, and it's making its way up to the orcs as well. The more they fight, the more ghosts they create. Oh no. no, no, no. This is becoming a little bit messy. But the Orcs are still a absolutely gigantic nation. Yes, they're not at war with the Brits, but still, they have 185 military strength. The Brits do have 887, which is just a little bit ridiculous. But I suppose the Orcs do have more area to actually colonize and work with, which is also very useful. Not going to work out. I'm sorry, Brits, every time you do this, you are going to die. It doesn't matter how many men you send. If you put peasants onto this continent, they just get turned into ghosts and skeletons. Well, the dwarves have finally made peace with the Orcs, but don't know how long that's going to last. The entirety of the Orc population is now immune from the giant disease, which is lovely stuff. But still, they must now fight an endless army of angry ghost boys, slowly making their way into their society. Well, the Orcs have declared war on the dwarves yet again, but this is of course not a good time to do it because, well, the corruption is still growing. Somehow the ships are able to sail through this land, but still, it is not looking good. Though the Orcs have built a gigantic, look at that, defensive tower to stave off the endless waves of ghosts, which is actually quite a good idea. Oh my goodness, look at this Orc military firing line of bows just marching into the corrupted territory. They're actually doing okay, but the issue is there's a few angry necromancers here. These bad boys are pretty powerful, and they are very evil. Oh my goodness, the Orcs are actually landing invasion forces into the corrupted zone. Why? They just get turned to ghosts. This is the worst idea ever. Oh, it's never going to work. Oh dear God, poor Orky boys. Well, can't blame them for trying, because they are really trying to see if they can colonize this corrupted landscape. Oh my goodness, and one of the actual villages up here has been destroyed by the Dwarf King himself leading an invasion force. That's actually going to really slow down the Orcs. But they just keep founding new territories over here in the middle of nowhere with absolutely no backing. Oh, and of course, here come the Brits, land some soldiers of their own. Oh, they might actually be able to colonize some territory here. Oh my goodness, they founded a new village. Brits, why? This is a terrible idea. It's cursed land. I know you love to drink tea, but still, this is a real folly. This is a terrible idea. Why not settle on this lovely mushroom land filled with sheep? Yes, that's much nicer. Oh my goodness, an even larger army of Brits has landed, and they seem really dead set on trying to make this work. Well, I wish them luck. You have got technically 1,000 soldiers, and you are building a dock, so maybe you can survive. But as soon as you aggro all of these ghosts, I'm afraid it's definitely going to be over. Speaking of which, the Orcs have actually also landed, and there we go. That is the British village destroyed by an army of skeletons. Who could have foreseen such a thing happening? Oh, and the British Empire has now declared war on the Orcs. Okay, this is going to get spicy. Oh no, demons from another realm have invaded this world, and it appears they've arrived in Old France land. Oh dear, well, they are looking pretty angry indeed, and wielding flame swords, which appear to have set most of the peasants on fire. Well, I actually think we should be able to do fine here. Oh no, default British man. He's dead. He died. Oh no, he died fighting the evil chaos invasion. No. Oh, glorious default British man. Well, we have a new king now. His name is Vidululu. He is wielding the flame sword of doom that was probably used to kill the last king, but my goodness, he's going to be fantastic. This boy loves war, which means we're going to probably see a lot more fighting, and he's very angry. Well, this is going to be the new king, a tea-fueled madman. He's going to be a glorious fighter. Anyway, the Brits are now piling onto the boats here. We're starting to get our first few military actions against each other. Who knows where the Brits are going to land today, because they've got an army, a mighty army. Okay, well, there was a small Orcish invasion just on the west side of the British Empire, but it's okay. The dwarves are actually managing to push back the borders of the Orcs, and the Orcs have kind of lost their southern coast to what appears to be, it's the Brits. My goodness, they've actually defeated an entire village. With the assistance, of course, a mighty army of ghosts that have quite simply wandered in. Interestingly, the Orcs are basically using weapons that they've stolen from people. Like this guy here has stolen a necromancer's staff, he's stolen some rings from the British Empire, and some boots from the dwarves. My goodness, that is literally what the Orcs are running their entire economy off of, just stolen goods. Oh, devastatingly, the tea-fueled man is no more. He's actually died. Why has he died? Well, it's because everyone in the British Empire is ill, and well, we just had King Tuvigi spawn in, but he just died as well. I'm pretty sure of the plague. This is a problem now. It is really becoming a problem. We've got King Vigo now. Here he is. Hopefully he lives. He's got a fine sword of power, mind you, and he loves tea. I really want him to live. Come on, best king. He is sad, but that's okay. I think we can do something to save him. There we go. We'll hit him with some divine light. He's been given a new swanky set of armor, and with his divine divine light and geniusness and his love of tea, I hope he survives. Now, sadly, the Brits are kind of just getting hit by chain lightning over and over again, and I have no idea what's causing it beyond, all I can guess is that the orcs have some kind of way of summoning death onto others, some kind of weird magic, maybe a religion in fact. Well, the only way to deal with that is to actually allow the two nations to simply meet and solve their problems mano to mano. And also, there's far too many skeletons milling about here, so I'm just going to drop a few bombs on their heads. There we go, that solved it. Oh, and Best King has died. Ekatop is now the new king, and Ekatop has also died. This is a veritable nightmare problem. I don't know why the British landscape was ravaged by chaos and plague, but it's happened. And I don't have anyone to blame other than the orcs, and consequently, that means I have to drop a meteorite right on top of them. There we go. Somehow their king lived, but, you know, it is his fault. Yeah, it has to be the orcs. These orcs are summoning chain lightning. What angry, angry boys. They're fighting the human empire, but bless the human empire, it's only got 76 soldiers left. I mean, they mostly died due to the plague. I guess I just need to bring back the heat ray. And also, in order to save the British Empire, I must do the one thing that I never thought I'd be able to do. That is, of course, land a nuclear bomb. It just kind of felt appropriate. And then, of course, we can follow it up with the Tsar bomb. Wow. Okay, that one was a little bit more powerful. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I just dropped one in the ocean. Oops. Well, I guess that goes a little village. I guess all that's left for me to do is finish off this glorious world by becoming the glorious CRABZILLA. If you don't know who CRABZILLA is, he's amazing. Look at him go and march through the landscape. But most importantly, he's got powers, like laser gloves. Oh, yes, CRABZILLA. You go, CRABZILLA. Evaporate humanity. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Orky boys. You have a lovely civilization here, but I am bloody CRABZILLA. Ooh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Crabby Christmas. I can march across any landscape and murder any foe. I am glorious CRABZILLA. And I guess now I just need to finish off my glorious landscape that I've created. A glorious empire, truly powerful. Sadly, this video must come to an end, and so consequently it shall, with the arrival of an infinite quantity of Tsar bombs. Ah, what a lovely day to be British. Lovely. Oh, and someone actually survived. Hats off to the handful of British people who lived. My goodness, well done. The world is not quite ready for you, but you're beautiful. And you keep your culture going strong. There's only 23 of you. But how many people are still alive? 118 living beings. Ah, wonderful. But, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The British Empire lives on with this population 32 village, and amazingly, some dwarves survived over here in a tiny island that I didn't even notice. So, there you have it. If you enjoyed today's video and discovered why British people should never be allowed to play God, because otherwise they're going to rack up 51,000 deaths, then be sure to give the video a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then you know what to do. Hop on down to the comment section and tell me what games you want me to experiment being God in next, because guess what? They're all completely and utterly perfectly balanced. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm afraid it's goodbye for now. As always, a massive thank you to each and every one of my amazing patrons who make these videos all the more possible. Seriously, thank you very much. Also, huge thanks to the YouTube members. My goodness, look at these majestic sausages.